And I'm joined by two men who were instrumental in seeing that it all came off. Los Angeles Police Chief William Bratton and Ken Ehrlich, who produced this memorial program. I don't know if there are two men anywhere within my eyes distance who are probably more relieved right now. Chief Bratton, everything seemed to go just as smoothly as you possibly could have imagined.
It was, from our perspective, the public safety perspective, a perfect day. Great day for the city of Los Angeles. It was literally flawless. That ran only about 10-15 minutes overtime, and the partnership between the people putting on the event, public safety, police and fire, you, the media, it was a great day.
Yeah, there was a lot of concern about people ignoring the calls to stay home, but there really weren't that many people who came down to downtown Los Angeles.
I don't think there were 15,000 to 20,000 people. They were probably outside. I think that we had more people inside, and I think a lot of that had to do with your cooperation over the last several days. Every event we did with you, we talked about stay home. The perimeter is going to be so large. You are not going to be able to see anything. You're not going to be able to see anybody. Sit in your living room and watch it in comfort. And I think most people heeded that advice.
Ken, what was your goal in putting this all together? And you knew the world was watching.
Well, first of all, I want to, if I could, I'd like to compliment Chief Bratton and the LAPD. I mean, they did a remarkable job. I mean, when we don't hear about things, that's the best thing that can happen to us. And we heard nothing. We did our show, and their presence made it happen. What was important to us was we had a mandate from the family. They said, we don't want to do a TV show. You know, you do good TV shows. We want a service. We want you to help us take Michael home. And right from the beginning, every time we made a decision, whether it was about booking, what the venue looked like, what we wanted to do, it was all framed by this needs to have reverence, it needs to have respect, and it needs to have the overlay is the greatness of the artist who I was fortunate enough to work with a number of times, Michael.
Tell us about the last time you saw Michael perform. You saw his rehearsals?
Well, I came down 2 weeks, I think it was probably 2 weeks from tomorrow night, 2 weeks ago. I had come down, we were talking about doing a project together, a TV special. We had worked together. And, he asked me if I would stay for the back half of the rehearsal, which I was thrilled to do because I hadn't seen any of it. It was terrific. All of these stories about him looking tired and frail and the rest of it. He had an energy. He was rehearsing, so, he was still learning. And Michael had a process that when he was in the learning stages of something, it was all about that process. The meeting that I had with him before, he was funny, he was glib. As a matter of fact, he was probably in fine nick, as we would say. He was just great. So, it was a shock the next day.
And we are told that the family is arriving now. They're having a repast, as they call it, a gathering of family and friends down at the Beverly Wilshire. And we know some of LAPD's finest are down there making sure things are going well there as well. Let me ask you, Ken, because he was this sort of consummate performer, and you've done so many different kinds of shows. Was this a particular kind of pressure?
Well, yeah, there's always pressure, but with this one, we would get all of these reports would start coming in, the most watched television, thing in history, and 1 billion people and all of that. So yeah, but at the end of the day, interestingly enough, at the end of the day, the pressure was the pressure we put on ourselves.
Actually, I watched him inside that he was probably the calmest person in there. A couple of his assistants were starting to get a little unglued at one point in time, and he just reached out to him. Take it easy. It's okay. Again, I was very admiring of his calm with all that pressure.
There's a great group of people. I mean, starting with the comfort factor of this whole community, Los Angeles and AEG, Tim Leiweke, and this gang they're just amazing. Our staff, working together with this whole Staples group, it's just, we're family. So the overlay here was knowing that again, it needed to be all about Michael.
Because you knew Michael, because he was more than just a client, or you weren't just another person that the family had asked in to help out with this. You were somebody who had a relationship relationship with him. Were you able to sit back and watch this as a memorial, as well as somebody who was trying to make sure? I mean, was there a particular moment that surprised you, that touched you in a way you didn't expect? Because you knew what was coming.
I found myself forgetting that I was producing this when Brooke Shields was speaking, when Usher was singing Gone Too Soon, when John Mayer had his eyes closed and was doing Human Nature, and in my head I was hearing the lyrics to that song and thinking of Michael. When when Smokey Robinson was talking about, and Berry Gordy were talking about those early days, there were so many moments when Jennifer Hudson was in, when Mariah was singing I'll Be There, it was loaded with that, and I found myself, if I looked calm, it probably was because I wasn't paying attention,
Did you know Paris was going to speak at the end?
Not at all. The family, we had talked to the family about coming up and thanking people at the end, which was only appropriate to do, but we just figured it would be the brothers and the sisters that would come up, and when the kids came up, it was, and then what happened, what she said, it was just, I'm speechless.
Yeah, as I said, and with all due respect to your skill in putting this together in such a short period of time, you can produce the greatest show that was ever produced, and it still would be hard to top a little girl saying how much she loved her daddy and saying, goodbye to her daddy. Let me just ask you for some final thoughts, because so much has been said about Michael Jackson and his impact on popular culture and what he has meant to the world. What do you think Michael Jackson's lasting legacy will be?
Chief Braston, that's more into your realm, I think. It's the world that you live in.
That he was human. That what we kind of showed today was everything that had happened in the last few years, the last number of years, where we put him under a microscope and dissected him. Maybe we ought to have instead reveled in his brilliance, in the music that he gave us, in his lyrics, in his ability to change the way people performed. And he'll always be remembered for that, and maybe some of the other stuff, frankly, maybe it'll never be forgotten, but maybe it'll be put into perspective.
And I did notice, Chief, you're the only person I've seen who doesn't wear an armband. Everyone else, even Ken Ehrlich, has an armband.
Wear this.
The shield that says Chief.
Opens every door in the city.
Can we trade for a little bit?
That's one thing we'd like to send a camera on.
I'll be happy to give you one.
These are two men who are breathing a sigh of relief after what was, congratulations, a really beautiful memorial and very smoothly done. And our thanks to all the folks we've dealt with, frankly, from the LAPD, who have been so great and so cooperative.
I'm interested to see how long it is before people cut those wristbands off.
Not yet. Thank you very much, Chief Bratton, Ken Ehrlich. We do appreciate it.
MSN Video puts a unique touch on live events.
And are you ready?
We're going to come back, but I do want to go downstairs because there are some fans who are coming out